What's up, everybody? I'm back with part 2 of my FDL-1 build. I kind of fast forwarded through a bunch of it. I didn't want to bore you guys to death. Lots more printing. Got the top half of the turret put together, and that is going to sit on top of this ring, and I need to print another piece that's a gear that runs around here. Right now, so there's a little threaded rod that goes from here over, and that will control the tilt. And I spent a bunch of time doing the wiring, so I finished up all of this stuff under here. Power distribution to the speed controllers, battery eliminators running back to the microcontroller. I've got all of the sensors in, so inside of here the IR detectors will shoot an IR beam through these holes, so it'll know if a dart is in the chamber. There is a spring-loaded piece right here that has a micro switch on top. That's detecting these bumps, so it knows when it is positioned on the chamber. I got the ESC mounts. I need to put the bullet connectors on so I can finish tying that all together. And I need to put the screws in the flywheels. Did all of the wiring. I skipped over that because he's already got a video about that stuff, so just part of his assembly video on Thingiverse shows how to run all of that stuff up and through. I built a little carrier board for 2 stepper drivers. Kind of see them down in there. Same drivers that you use on a 3D printer. And then that all comes back to my particle photon. So this is a little Wi-Fi enabled microcontroller. Starting to wire that up. Have steps going back to the motor drivers. These are for direction. I don't think the prototype version that has the prototype has the firmware for the turret. The non-prototype doesn't have the turret included in the firmware, but does have the IR sensors, so I'm probably going to have to bring some of that software together. Let's see, white wires going back to the ESC to control those motors, and these are for the plunger and the advanced switches. And yeah, I think that's all I've got so far. The rest of this stuff runs back IR detector. Over here there is an advanced switch, a little momentary switch under here to advance, just one barrel, one chamber at a time in the barrel. And we've got this switch over here. I'm not quite sure what that goes to yet. I'm gonna have to rewatch the videos. Down here, XT60 cable. Up under there we got a power switch, turn the whole thing on and off. Kind of see that just to the right of the cable there. And right now this is all running off a 3S LiPo. So sort of at the heart of this thing is this little guy called a particle photon. You can kind of see him in there. We'll see him on the back of the turret in a second. This guy's like a little Arduino, a little bit more powerful. It's got a Cortex ARM M3 microcontroller. It's totally Arduino compatible, and these guys really went the extra mile to get the developer experience right. And what I mean by that is, like, the tool chain is really, really slick. So they give you a command line program. You can kind of see that there, and you can just type in particle and it gives you all of the information about the device. When you first plug it in, you just hit particle setup, runs you through connecting to Wi-Fi with the device, naming it, making sure you have a particle console account for their web interface, which you kind of see in the background there. And through a little bit of magic in one of their libraries, you can then expose your functions from your sketch and make them available in the web very easily. So these are all kind of mostly debugging functions that I put in there to help me step through the program, figure out where problems are at, make sure all the hardware is working. I haven't gotten through a full firing cycle yet, but I wanted to show a little bit about what I can do with the device. So this is the microcontroller. It's now connected to the web through their web interface. You can see I'm in Chrome there. And over here we have the now fully built and wired turret. So there that is. Finished building up the turret base, did the wiring for the second stepper backpack. Need to figure out something a little more safe and sturdy for the battery. There is a cover that goes under here that I still need to put on. I just want to make sure I have the switches and infrared sensors hooked up properly. A couple of wires not hooked up yet. I am using the prototype sketch. The FDL-1 prototype includes the code for the turret base. So I am using that code. It does not implement the IR sensor yet, so at some point I'm going to have to bring the two firmwares together. Here's our particle photon. I had to hook it up via USB to just do the setup. After that, pull that sucker out, and now it's just running Wi-Fi back to the computer. So now the turret totally standalone, battery powered, and over here on the web interface we have the first one is to control the azimuth. This is pretty much like the rotation of it. So let's go, I don't know, like 15 degrees, and then I'll just hit call. Boom. The next one is the altitude, I think, ALT move. So that is the like the tilt of the gun. Oh, it wasn't very much. There we go. Pretty slick. Advancing the drum. And you'll see I kind of like, this is my first version of the drum. The drum is the longest printing piece on the whole device. This particular drum, 14 hours, and it wasn't very dense. So when I took it apart, or when I took it out and started installing it, taking it out, putting it back in, over time, this sensitive spot kind of cracked off. I've got another one, much denser, and I need to switch that out. This is like 40-45% density, so that should be pretty good. What's next here? We got the flywheels. So the dart will come out, it will go through the flywheel. This is a brushless motor off of a quadcopter coming down to an electronic speed controller, and that gets controlled via pulse width modulation from the microcontroller. So we can send a command over here that says fire it up to 100 as the power for 1 second. So that's going to be pretty intense when it's shooting a dart out. The plunger is the next part. So the plunger is back here. We'll be actuating the darts. I guess we got to be in a hole in the barrel there. So let's try that again. I think I'm going to have to adjust the power there a little bit. That one kind of skipped a little. Yeah, just a little bit of skipping. So let's attune that. maybe a little bit of sanding inside of some of the mechanism there. Then there's also two switches that are implemented so far. One is the advanced switch, so that is have we advanced to the next dart, and the next one is for the plunger. Has the plunger hit the rear of its travel, so we can call that. And I will turn the drum just ever so slightly, and then we get to the next dart. There we go. And then the plunger is all the way back right now, so we would expect a 1. And I will manually push that forward just a little. Let's see. There we go. Cool. So that is all of the basic functionality needed to execute the fire command. I think we do a speed and the number of rounds. I don't think it's going to do anything yet because I think we still have a little bit of work to do here, but we'll try it. Okay, so it looks like there's a dart in there. Push that guy back. Not safe. Alright, drum looks free. Try that one more time. Wow. Yeah, that's what we want right there. And I did 25 for the power, so let's try 100. That seems to be a good spot for the motors to kick on. Okay, that's a little sign of life there. Alright, well, got a little bit more tuning. The dart is getting pushed out to here, and it's got to go just a little bit further. So, there's a little bit of tweaking to go, but fundamentally, this is the FDL-1 P turret. Thanks for checking it out. Peace.